Guys, what is going on? Nick Wood here, the king of digital real estate. You guys already know. If you are feeling burned out in any way, shape, or form with digital real estate, with Rank and Rent, I want you to listen to this video. I will go quick, but you need to hear what I'm about to say. Guys, this is something I have not talked a lot about, but it's something I want to start talking about more because it happened to me. And it may be happening to you, or it may eventually happen to you, and you need to listen, and you need to listen carefully. Number one, no matter what you do, I don't care if it's drop shipping, I don't care if it's getting married, I don't care if it's a new job or a new hobby or whatever it is, you are always at some point going to get to the point where the honeymoon stage wears off. And this is no exception. You get into it, you have the dream of living the laptop lifestyle, of taking a laptop and going to Mexico and peacing out for a week and just making millions of dollars from the pool, right? Of taking a laptop and going to Starbucks, of not having a boss, of recurring income, of all these different things, making money while you sleep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it is amazing, and the thought of it is amazing, but you get punched in the mouth. And you wake up one day and you go, man, I got to write more content. Man, I got to get more backlinks. Man, I got to call some more business owners that might just be mean to me today. And you start realizing like this is work. This is work. So it happens to everybody. So first of all, I want you to know like you're not alone. It will happen to you at some point. This is an incredible business model. It's the best business model on the internet. I've yet to find one that even touches this model, but that doesn't mean you're not going to reach a point where you go, man, this is tough. It happens. And if it weren't tough, everybody would do it, right? So guys, let's keep that in context. But guys, let me tell you what happened to me at the end of 2020. In 2020, we had the best year of my life in terms of business. We did our first 7 figures. We went absolutely bananas. Keep in mind the year before that, I was struggling. I almost quit Rank and Rent. I was barely paying the bills. It was a rough year in 2019 to the point where I was this close to walking away, right? Shutting down the agency and doing something else. 2020, we buckle down, we start cranking, we start rolling, we master the flat fee, we master the pre-sale. We have a couple months, we do $10,000 plus of new contracts, new recurring business. We have, in July, we do $100,000 a month. We have, again, for me, this year was that huge jump. And even though we made more money in 2021 than I did in 2020, 2020 was the year, man. 2020 was a phenomenal year. But here's something I haven't talked about a lot. The end of 2020, I started to feel it a little bit, but the beginning of 2021, I went into this really weird funk. Very, very weird, very strange funk, guys. I mean, to the point where I was like, what is happening? Best year of my life, should have had every reason to be excited. And I was flat out burned out. And I know some of you guys are going, how could you be burned out, dude? You did 7 figures. How could you be burned out, man? You were able to get out of debt and do all these different things. And I understand from your perspective, if you haven't done that, it seems like there's nothing to complain about. There's nothing to be burned out about. And even me thinking about it now, it's like, that was stupid. But the reason I want to make this video, guys, is because I went and I tried to scale my business. I tried to single-handedly put everything on my back and just scale it. And instead of, doing things the way that they should have been done, I decided that, hey, I'm going to just put that on my back too. And, oh, you can't do that correctly, I'm going to put that on my back too. And amazingly, even though the business, looking back on it, was actually very duct taped together, very manual, very non-systematized, I was a one-man band in a lot of ways, we still scraped and clawed and scratched our way to 7 figures. So first of all, I want you guys to know you can go a long way on willpower. You can go a long way on do it yourself. You can go a long way on screw everyone. I'm putting my head down. I'm shutting off everything and I am going. Okay. But 2021 was a weird year for me, guys. I didn't work in January. I didn't work in February. I didn't work in March. I didn't work in April. About halfway through April, I finally started to get interested in the business. Guys, and I say I didn't work. It was all I could do to it sounds pathetic, I know, but it was all I could do to wake up, go to the gym, maybe make a call, not to a new business owner, but maybe make a call to make sure businesses were happy, mainly to my team, just make sure everything was, the wheels were still on, man, and the wheels weren't falling off. And then that was it. That was it, guys. And if I look back, I'm not joking you. That's what I did. I was looking for ways to just like find some. It was a weird year, man. I played a lot of golf. I read some different books. I was like, man, do I need to do something else? It was very, very strange. And it took me 3.5 months just to start coming back around to it. And it literally took me almost half of a year before I was back in full mojo, let's go mode. And why am I telling you guys this? I'm telling you guys this because number one, during that entire time, my business continued to pump out the same kind of numbers. I made the same amount of money those months when I was having an off time as I did the year before, which is insane, right? So number one, that's a testimony of this business model, that the recurring aspect, the low maintenance nature of the business, et cetera, is unmatched. But the other thing I want to point out here is that if you do not build this business the correct way, if you do not systematize, that's what I want to get at with this video, guys, is it is so important that as you start to scale and as you start to build this business, you make sure that you start building the business of what you want it to look like and what needs to take place so that when you get to a certain point, it can be sustainable and you don't burn out along the way. Okay. I had every reason to be off the charts excited. Every single reason. But I could not even will myself to open the computer and to think or talk or do anything about it. And many of you guys that knew me then, that I was just off the map during those months. And luckily by mid-year, I got that mojo back. We ended up just setting some massive goals. We ended up doing 50% more than we did in 2020. And I only worked literally about half the year. And we had a month that we did $24,000 in new business in one single month. So we salvaged the year big time. But I want you guys to avoid getting burned out. And you guys need to make sure as you build this business, you can, as a single person, as a solopreneur, get this sucker to 10, 15, probably 20K. You can will yourself a long way. But if you do not hire people, if you do not systematize, if you do not do this the correct way, you will burn out. You will burn out. And thank goodness that eventually I came out of it. Eventually I got excited again. Eventually I set some new goals and had another phenomenal year than the next, a better year than the year before. But I've said this to students in my digital landlords program, guys, you have to make sure that in your journey of scaling up your business, in your journey of going to 50K, of 75K, of 20K, of 100K, of 200K, whatever it is you want to get to, that you look at it and go, all right, I want to get to that level, but I'm not going to give up my relationships. I'm not going to give up my health. I'm not going to give up my sanity because I put all those things in the back burner. And I was so tired of I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was so sick and tired of having no money that was the only thing that mattered. And I had my head down and I was all in. And I know some of you go, well, that's what I want to do. Yes, it's great. But if I would have just taken the time to be a little bit more thoughtful about how I was building. And you know what I've realized as I look back and I've dissected that year, because it was a year that was so good in so many ways and it ended so weirdly, and the beginning of the next year started so weirdly. But as I've looked at it and I sit there and go, well, what if I would have systematized? What if I would have built it correctly? Would I have gotten to $1 million quicker? I don't know. I don't know if I would have gotten to $1 million quicker, but as I look at where I'm at now, I would be so much further ahead of where I'm at now with my rank and rent business. My rank and rent business would be light years ahead of where it is now. Again, we're playing the long game. Again, we're trying to build big business. And I don't mean big as big teams and lots of employees. I mean big as in lots of freaking money. So guys, if you're feeling burned out right now, take inventory. Have you been doing too much of it yourself? Have you built it the correct way? Are you systematizing? Are you hiring people? Are you making sure, as Mr. Gerber so eloquently states in his book, that you are setting up a system and running the system? Or are you doing what I did in creating a duct taped business that you are single-handedly trying to will to the top? And you may get there, but I'm telling you that the fall will be great and the fall will hurt a lot. And thank goodness this model, it wasn't much of a fall, but it could have been a lot worse. So guys, you're going to experience it. If you think you're going to get into this and have no downside, have no bad, bad days, or you're going to be 100% excited all the time, it's a lie. You are going to have hard days. It's going to get tough. You're going to go, man, I should go do something else. Something else would be easier. There's easier money. There's easier this. And the grass is always greener. This is the greatest business model on the planet. And despite all that stuff that I just told you guys, despite it taking 4 or 5 years for me to make that $1 million, that first $1 million, and all these different things, I still stand strong in telling you guys this is the greatest business model on the planet. And the question I would ask you rhetorically as I end this video is, why have you not started?